before the video starts, we go ahead with the capstone, I just want to take a few moments and talk a minute about kind of like my journey through film right here. It's going to be a little bit long, but trust me, the video that you're all waiting for, it's great, it's amazing. It's a culmination of all my 4 or 5 years plus that I've been in college. So hopefully the student debt was worth it. But no, I just kind of want to give a little bit of background on like what my history with the film is and with filming is. So I originally got into filming when I was very young, with my close friend of mine, Ethan Hall, and it was nice enough for him. He kind of pushed me in the right direction to writing and stuff, and so I started teaching myself slowly how to write a good script. And in the end, I just fell in love with it, and then I got away from it for a little bit in high school, and then I think around my junior year I started to pick back up again, and I started to do these little YouTube videos. They were dumb, like dumb little gaming YouTube videos with my buddies when I first got my an Elgato, which is just a little screen recording device. So it was really cool, and then obviously when I found out there was a college close by in Ohio, where we lived in Dayton, Ohio, in Fairfield, it was called Wright State University, and it was like the one I always dreamed of. It was my first pick. It was my first pick. I got into it, and I was like immediately so excited. And then I went through my first year. My first semester, I loved it, but my second semester, there was a lot of stuff happened. The teachers went on strike, and I just kind of felt like, to me, I felt betrayed by it because there was a lot of things said that didn't really translate to actions. So I kind of just gave up, and they just didn't bother. For those of us who decided to give up, they just didn't really care. They didn't try to like keep us. And I got told, because of a lot of the videos that I did, and they were a lot more graphic and a lot more dark in sort of nature, that I should never do film and that they were very distasteful. And that kind of just sent me into this spiral that I didn't even let my parents know about. So this is kind of like their first time knowing it. But I struggled for the next, I would say, up till halfway through 2020 with COVID. I struggled with a lot of depression and self-doubt, and the fact, am I good compared to these other kids that did this stuff in high school, that went to worked at weather channels and news stations and all this stuff and got hands-on experience, where all I did was I used a camcorder that my parents bought me. They bought me a camcorder and a little microphone attached on top, and that was my first video camera. But no, I suffered through a lot, and then when COVID hit, I actually made the self-choice, and my parents didn't know about this. I made the self-choice to quit the film program, and I was halfway through the process the first time, and my professor came up to me. He emailed me and said, hey, let's Zoom call and let's talk about this. And so he kind of just walked me through, like, you were probably experiencing PTSD. Like, obviously I wasn't diagnosed with that. But he's like, what happened? It was probably traumatic for you, like being told that you were not good enough. And in the end, yeah, it kind of really did have an impact on me, until he kind of sat me down and was like, hey, if you're not feeling this at the end of next semester, you can quit. We're not going to hold it against you. You'll still be an olive branch. But that semester I got lucky enough, and I took Tisa Zito's. She's my mentor, the one person I really do attribute to my success here at DSU, because she tried to push me in the right direction to do commercials. I took her class, and then I fell in love with it again. I fell in love with film all over again. And when I took her small business class, I really fell in love with, this was about a year later, I really fell in love with doing commercials, really small projects, helping people put their message out there in the world. And yeah, I've had a lot of cool people be able to like kind of just build this foundation that I've built myself upon with my teachers and students and my family and people that I've met along the way, whether they were good or bad. Most of the people I'd like to thank was Tisa Zito, Professor Snow. He was a big inspiration, and he was the first teacher I met that kind of like understood my like weird and kind of wacky sense of style and humor. Patrick Smith, Strassman too. Professor Strassman was a big deal because he was my first screenplay writing. It was really cool. But no, I just want to really thank my mom, my dad, my grandma, my grandpa, my grandpa especially, who helped raise me when I was young, when it was just me and my mother. And then I want to thank my dad especially, because he came in and took a role of that father figure and kind of really pushed me forward and distilled a lot of his personality and his traits and his drive to do good into me. And then, of course, my mom, who's been my biggest player since day one, since she had the thought, I'm going to have a child. I know, not appropriate, but love you, Mom. But no, it's been really great. I'm so happy to have been blessed with such a great support system and family. And something that one of my students today at my job, they said, be grateful for how big of a support system you have, because some people don't have that, and I am grateful. I'm grateful to have met a bunch of good people recently. It was Jazz and Sam, and it was all these people, including Danny and Terrence, who have become more so like brothers to me. I met these two probably 2018, 2020. They're just guys that I met on a video game, and I've been close to them ever since. And this is just a tribute to all those people that really told me, hey, you can do it, and they kept pushing me, even though they didn't know what was going on behind the scenes and mentally and emotionally with me. Yeah. It's also kind of like a middle finger, too, to everyone that said, you can't do this, you can't do that. So without further ado, it was nice enough for Sam Bennett to trust me with this video. I know it's crazy, but I think this is probably my favorite thing I've ever done in terms of film. So without further ado, I would like to present, in corroboration with myself and Sam Bennett at Little Savage Tattoo here in St. George, present to you the commercial, the very first and the debut of Sam Bennett Tattoos at Little Savage, directed by Zach Barker, in corroboration with DSU, Dixie State University Film Department, and UTU, Utah Technical University Film Department. This is Sam Bennett Tattoos.
My name is Sam Bennett. The styles I like to tattoo are Japanese, American traditional, anime, floral,